Hello and welcome to Baer's Anime Club. Every other Monday I put out a new video in this series where I talk about a theme or a topic about anime because I talk about it a lot, I think about it a lot, so why not make videos about it? Now, you should check out my backlog. If this is your first time checking this video out, I've made a bunch of these. And I've done stuff about, like, oh, what's coming out this season? What was good about this season? I've delved into topics like, what is an isekai? And I've also done a few live shows which were recorded, some of which were recorded on my streaming channel on Twitch. Some of them were recorded for events. And you can check those out because it has really cool guests that you will like. But in this particular video, we are returning to a topic that I previously covered. Pet peeves. These are anime pet peeves. These are things that like irk me or whatever. You know, they're light. They're just like, hey, I'm a little tired of this. In our previous video, because it's part 2, in part 1, we looked at teachers involved in romantic comedies. Just stay out of there. It is a high school. We don't need a teacher also maybe falling in love with the main character. Don't need that. Tsundere characters, they can be handled well, but they have to be approached well. Just if that's all your character is, I'm not interested in it. The idea that nobody stays dead in particularly shonen, and just like, let that wait happen. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your dramatic death and then also have the character come back and get your like, oh, they weren't dead. Come on. Piano covers of anime themes. I'm just not here for it. Just not as interested in the old piano covers. Now, I will say that since I made this video, it has been taken care of due to the global pandemic, but that was not my intention, certainly. And, of course, fake fans, because you can't end a lighthearted video without actually talking about a systemic problem within the anime world and community, which in this case is fake fans. I'm making sure I get my quotes in here. Fake fans, not the actual fake fans, because those exist. The gatekeeping and perceived notion of people that aren't as into the thing as you are, because they haven't been to it as long, or because they like a particular fandom, or a particular style, or a particular subgenre, but you like the real stuff. I'm tired of that. That's got to go. But so, yeah. Maybe this video we won't get into anything real. We'll just keep it light and fun. We'll see. But let's get into previews that show the end of the next episode. So Funimation kind of does away with this by not showing previews of the next episode. You have to find those yourself on YouTube, which is weird. But Crunchyroll includes them, and of course they're on Japanese television as well. Yeah, I don't like them. So this is particularly in a case of shonen, where at the end of the episode, they're going to show you the preview for the next episode. And the preview is going to be like, this is what's going to happen. This is going to hype you up. You got to come back next week. You got to see what happens. But within it, that little clip, that little 25-second clip, 15-second clip, whatever, is action that takes place at the very end of that episode. So it ruins it in multiple ways. One, it's a spoiler. And two, as you're watching, you're waiting for that moment. You're waiting for that build. And that build is the whole episode. But it's building towards that, but it's an unnatural build for you because you're already like, well, when are Sanji and Zoro gonna like deflect bullets? Oh, they do it at 20 minutes into it, and they don't get to see any of that, and it's actually the next episode where any of that action happens. That sucks, and that's got to change. You want to tease what's going on in the next episode, great, but don't spoil things that much. Show me what happens in the first 45 seconds of the anime, or 2 minutes into the anime, so because I know your episode's going to start with what happened last week. So do that instead. Come on. Let's see, what's the next one? What's our next one here? Oh, not knowing an episode is delayed. So obviously this does not affect Japanese anime fans. This is for folks in the other parts of the world having to deal with this. But yeah, it sucks. Like, maybe you're not a simulcast person, right? You're not hitting the immediate thing, right? So you're like, oh, hey, a new episode of a show I like came out today, like 6 hours ago or something like that, probably. I'll go and see. That's my night. And you're getting planned out. This is what I'm watching tonight. I'm watching this episode of this show tonight. And you go to watch it, and it's been delayed. Now, sometimes there are great reasons for those delays. Sometimes it's a thing of like, hey, we had to put up an episode that is a best of, or we had to take a week off, or there's a sporting event and we can't air our episodes live on television, so we're going to take a couple weeks off, or something like that. That happened, I remember, with the French Open. That generally affects some anime here and there. I remember it once affected an episode in season 2 of One Punch Man, and it was like, well, we're not watching the French Open, but I understand you can't do that. But yeah, you have to track something down. If you go, basically what happens is you go to see if you're going to watch your show, and it's not there, and you're like, well, is there a delay? Let me check in a couple hours. No, okay. All right, well, let me check Twitter. Well, the official count didn't say anything. All right, well, this this streaming service also has a channel or a Twitter account for the show. Did they say anything? No, they didn't. Okay, weird. All right, well, let me go and check Wikipedia. Did they put an episode there? No, they didn't put anything there. Okay, well, let me check like Google News. Let me just type it in, see if one of these random websites that says information that are clickbaity might actually have the information. Oh, someone made a YouTube video, which is obviously for clicks, but also mentions that it's been delayed because of this. And it's rough. It is a rough thing. Now, I will say that particularly because of COVID, we did have some notifications on pages, like this last season of a scientific railgun had a note about it, like these episodes will be delayed at this time, it will be back at this time, and there was detail. Some shows put a thing in like, hey, it has been postponed due to COVID and will return in October or whatever. There were notes that were up, which is good. But if it's like a week off, if like, oh, we need another week, we're gonna throw a delay in. Like there was a series pretty recent, like last year. This is pre-COVID. That like the Chinese studios were going through some issue. They were doing all of the monster designs, and so they had to postpone the show. I think twice through its 13 episode run. But I only knew that because I went to Funimation the day that the episode was supposed to go up, and there was no episode. And then later you would see a note. Oh, there was a show I can't remember. So they created a like, hey, if we have to take a week off, we'll have this like between episodes 1 through 4. Here is a like here's a condensed version of the story. I think it was Cautious Hero. The hero was overly cautious. So they did like, but they aired that episode instead of episode like 7. So it wasn't even up to date. It was just like a thing they had to get out because they were gonna have to take a week off, which is awful. And again, if it's health issues, if it's scheduling, I feel for people. And the real problem is just not knowing. That's the pet peeve. I want to know. Like, I'll watch something else, but like, come on, let me know. Figure out a way to let me know. The manga is better. And this one, look, it's just sometimes of course it's true. The manga can expand things. The manga can tell a weekly or every other week story, and it's just ongoing, and it's got its thing, and it's got its own pacing, and it can tell the stories it needs to tell. Anime has 12 episodes or 13 episodes or 24 episodes or 26 episodes, and it has to condense things. Manga is not laid out to tell a 13 episode story in an arc. You have to condense things, you have to abridge things. So obviously the manga can be better. But it's not always better, because sometimes it's pacing. Sometimes it's those filler episodes that add information because you had the manga, so you have context of the characters, so you can add little things. Or an example I always like to say is in the manga of Naruto, Hinata wasn't an important character in the first episode or the first manga chapter, but it realized, oh, this character is going to be important. So in the anime, she shows up. She's in the background. She has a little moment because that character is going to be important. So why not include it early in the anime? It actually just flushes out the world a little bit better. And also the flashbacks of her always kind of being around Naruto now like make more sense because you're seeing it, even if you didn't see it in the manga. That's just one example. But you get a chance to kind of explore these characters and have these little things. Now, filler can be awful. Especially filler arcs can be rough, but My Hero Academia's filler is fantastic. It is sometimes like really within the spirit of the show. It expands on some characters. It gives you some stuff, and I would actually say that anime only fans, would be surprised how some of their favorite episodes, or even maybe their favorite moments in the show, some of them are filler and weren't in the manga. But in overall, look, if you read it, that's great. I just don't need to hear about it. I'm sure that a show is condensed and they're missing out on a great thing and all that. But if you want that and you don't want to read the manga, just look up anime cut content and watch all the cut content and watch all the how it should have been content, because then you're helping a creator on YouTube who has gone through the process of being like, well, they didn't do this and they didn't explain that. And oh, there's a whole narrative, there's a whole monologue they didn't include because it would have been weird to include that monologue, but it's fine in a manga. So, that's my rant. We're getting close to me actually caring as opposed to pet peeves. So let's get to the next one, which is The Monkey King, Journey to the West. You gotta take a break. I just look. When it comes to stuff that is in the public domain, that anime is just going to be doing their retelling, their reimagining in. I'm just tired of it. Is The Monkey King, The Journey to the West, classic Chinese story, one of the classics. Right below that, in terms of anime about, is we're talking about the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Lu Bu, you gotta have Lu Bu in your thing. But why not Water Margin? Or, and I have to look at this up because it's so infrequent. Dream of the Red Chamber. Why not those other stories? Why aren't those in your thing? And then I'll also say, sneak it up on you, is Sherlock Holmes. Either Sherlock, there's an anime about Moriarty this season. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't need it. Get out of here with your Sherlock Holmes adaptations. It seems to be at least 2 a year, and we just don't need it. Here is a not definitive sampling of anime that either involves Son Goku, the Monkey King, or is a direct inspiration from retelling of Journey to the West. I'm going to spoil a little bit of a show that came out this year, but whatever. We've got Gokumon from Digimon. That's definitely Goku. We got Son Goku from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, along with Oolong being the pig character, and really just the tenets of Son Goku, but telling a unique story, obviously. We have Jin Mori from God of High School. Also, Lu Bu is in there. Lu Bu not gonna not be in fighting anime with gods and historical legends. Fine. We got Goku Knight of Diaboken, which is clearly retelling. We've got Monkey Typhoon, another retelling. We've got Sayuki, which is obviously another retelling of all of it, Journey to the West. It's just called Journey to the West. The Shinzo, which is a kind of fantasy thing, and then a science fiction retelling called Science Fiction Sayuki Starzinger, which is obviously another retelling of that, but with a high scientific bent. And I believe Shinzo is also a comedy. I mean, just looking at that person, I'm like, that's probably a comedy. I don't know. But that is a short list of. It's just, I'm done with it. I'm done. Just rest. You don't need to tell this anymore. You can let it go. We don't need to see your version of Journey to the West. It's in popular fiction as well, and it's in manga that has been adapted to anime and TV shows, and just it can go. Take a break. Take a break. And our last kind of light little one of a pet peeve of mine is queer-coded villains. Again, I got you with the real one. Look, is it a staple of all fiction? Yes. That your villain is going to be queer coded because people are scared of that, and also because it's villainous, they can be flamboyant because they're a villain and that's fine. And it is a gay panic, of course it is. It plays into the main character being like, oh, what? Why is this person being this way? Ooh, gross. We recently, in Black Clover, had two characters talking about filler, two characters in a filler arc who we'll never see again because it's filler. They were queer coded, and to the point where eventually it was just like, oh yeah, they're definitely in a romantic relationship. How tragic. We need these to be tragic queer characters. In a show that has one character who has romantic feelings for someone of the same gender, or their same gender, and otherwise nothing at all. In fact, there is a literal group of all ladies who have like, oh, we have men that they just do the chores. They don't actually go out, and they're not magic knights. But all of them have secret boyfriends, and you're like, really? All of them have secret boyfriends? Really? Cool, cool, cool. You could have done something pretty fun with this, but all right. It is. It's trash. It just sucks. Obviously, there have been people who have spoken way more about this. But yeah, in shows where the only gay characters or perhaps people that are trans and comfortable with that, they are the most like aware and kind of in their own skin and having a good time with whatever they're doing. They're comfortable in their own skin, I should say. Are often the villains. And that is a thing that is in all fiction and includes an anime. It is a pet peeve. Just come on. Come on. Come on. You can do better. You have to do better. You can and you have to. And that's Pet Bear's Anime Club. So in the comments below, let me know if there's something you'd like me to do a video on. I've been debating whether or not I'm going to be doing a video on what's going on in this season. If I'm going to be like, hey, what am I watching? What am I liking? Or maybe I should do a video on, hey, what did I stop watching? And I could tell you about like, this romantic comedy's not really doing it for me, or oh, the action in this just didn't really pique my interest. I'm also thinking about maybe doing a video on good trash because there is such thing as good trash. This season, right now, I where's the good trash? There's bad trash. Is there good trash? And I haven't been able to find it, and I would like to find it, but I have not been able to. So I'm thinking I might be doing something on good trash. Like last season, we had the Demon King, the Misfit Demon King Academy, and that's just some good trash. That was just pleasant trash to watch. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see me do in the next Pat Bear's Anime Club. If you're watching something right now, do you think you don't think is on my radar that I should check out? Please let me know. And I will see you on the next video. So enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you in the next Pat Bear's Anime Club. Goodbye.